Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Inside the Mayhem, live on the Vortex Racing Network. I'm Mean Gene Money. I've got Zach Panzarella here in the booth, and we are going to analyze all the foolishness that happens on a Monday night in the Monday Night Mayhem season, normally broadcast on the Moonlight Racing League Network, but we'll be switching to VRN right here next year. So the boys took it to Kentucky for the final race in the first round of the playoffs. That's right, the round of 12, going to become 8, depending on how it works out. You're looking at the points as they were going in. Only 8 men were going to make it in. Jose Medina, Jack Sanders right there on that line. Matt Novella, Alex Hillman, Sean Walton on the outside looking in. It is a win and you're in situation. After Talladega, we saw that win by Jax Duvall. Jax won at Talladega, not a playoff driver, so no one got the golden ticket. And then we saw other drivers move up. Crazy race last week at Talladega. 2 wrecks on the last lap. Jax Duvall took out Sean Walton, putting him in that precarious position as they go into Kentucky this week. And then another big wreck, which allowed Duvall to go up to the front. Craziness ensued. What would happen at Kentucky going into this week? Go ahead and bring on our first guest to help us see what had happened. And this guy had a heck of a Kentucky, at least the first half. Going to bring in Tony Iverson. Hey, Tony, you there with me, bud?
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah, now, Tony Iverson, you were third in points going into Kentucky, so you had to feel good about your situation, right? I mean, third coming in, 24 points over that cutoff line. So did you feel any pressure? What was your expectation coming into this race?
I had no expectation. I was actually talking to a teammate about that this morning. I was really actually feeling no pressure for once going into a race.
That's got to be in a good place to be, especially an elimination race. Pretty good season you've had so far. You did get the big win earlier in the year, got that monkey off your back, so had to feel like something good could happen depending on what was going on around us. Joe Volpus taking the pole for this race, and we had some shenanigans early, right?
Yeah, it happened right in front of me. I almost lost it trying to dodge it. It was about halfway through lap 2, I believe.
There we go. So as we go on board, let's take a little look. And so you can see here, this was the opening of the race. Already seeing some quickness out of some of these guys. Where are you in this hot mess? That's you in that Gravedigger 13?
Yeah, just trying to, the tires are still cold at this point. So, I'm just trying to keep it down on the bottom, keep my wheel from turning too much and just let everything warm up.
Yeah, something we noticed during the race with the access that we had to the in-car cam was the amount of input that you had on the wheel. Very little movement from you. Definitely part of the success, I would imagine, of driving here. Here's a great in-car that we see right here. You can see Sean Walton ahead of you and Michael Mata on the outside lane. And you just want to go ahead and walk us through here your process of your driving. What are you thinking? Are you braking? Are you gas? What's going on with you and the mechanism of the car?
Turn 1, I'm doing everything I can to try to keep the pedal to the metal. With the right line, you can damn near floor it through the corner, and there's the wreck there. Oh, Lord, I can't believe I dodged that. But yeah, and then 3 and 4 is kind of a different story. I like to trail it in, and then I have a couple tells built into the track there of when I like to try to roll back onto the throttle and try to get back to full throttle as soon as possible without sliding the rear.
And so yeah, that wreck right there, that was your teammate. You could see David Owens racing hard with Michael Mata. David Owens also up at the top of the points. He was first and actually coming into this thing right ahead of Colin Bolander. And then think he got into it with the 16 of Mata. Mata, not a playoff driver, but that guy's still racing hard every week. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, Owen said that, when he rewatched the incident, that Mata didn't actually touch him. He was just got close enough to him that he felt to get him loose coming out of the corner. We'll see right here. Yeah, it doesn't look like he actually touched him. It's hard. Oh well, maybe there it is. Actually, there's
It was a
the.
little bit of netcode there, and Yamada not checking up a ton, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yep. So everybody's trying to win. Early in the race, though, lap 3. Are the tires even fully warm at this point?
Oh no, I mean with this track, especially with the conditions we had, I would say that I wasn't able to run my fastest lap till like 6 or 7 in a run.
Yeah, so people taking chances early, especially in elimination race, or somebody like Michael Mata, that MC Motorsport team, Bobby Dodson, Jonathan Sabir, and Michael Mata, fast drivers wanting wins. Zach, go ahead and take us forward to that lap 25 incident as well. Here we go. Here's another incident, and funny story. It's also going to involve the number 16 again, as we see him get it into it again. Do you remember where you were on the track in relation to Mata at this point?
Oh my goodness. No, I just tried to, maintain a lead that I had. So that right there was definitely somebody getting squeezed into the wall pretty egregiously.
Oh yeah.
Break this one down.
Go to that in car. Yeah, go to that in car. Actually, you can see the wheel.
Should we do the Walton in car again, Mean Gene?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And now let me ask you though, Tony, pinching a guy you're racing up against the wall, that's a thing, right?
So I actually was in a conversation with Walton about this exact incident, and he had me cracking up because he was like, "Oh, it's just a side draft gone bad."
What?
And look at the wheel. This is where I wonder, because it looked like he was loose coming out, and then that moment.
That little twitch right there. Yeah, that's a side draft gone wrong.
Mean Gene, that side draft gone wrong is very reminiscent of that broken toe link that we saw out of the two earlier, right?
Yeah, later the two had a side draft go wrong on Walton, because the two he was victimized in this and actually forced. Yeah, you can see what happens to Stanton.
That one's
Break
pretty
down
bad.
This textbook side draft for me here, Tony. Because the idea, I love that this is a side draft for sure.
Oh man, I was laughing so hard when he said that.
So you will see here though, like watch here, Mata. This is some netcode. Mean Gene did call this. There it is, right there. No real contact, but actually, yeah, he's loose. That's netcode. That's netcode.
Well, at this point, though, yeah, the side draft must have sucked him up in.
Yeah, just not quite right what you want. Not quite.
Oh man, yeah, he didn't.
And then switch to Stinson here, and you can see.
Do we have to? Jason's favorite. Yeah. Look away, Jason. Look away.
And you can see Stinson. He's like, look at those two dummies. I'm glad I'm not down there.
Yeah, like what morons. God, I'm so glad I'm not a part of that. And I'm just out here minding my own business. I've done nothing wrong this whole day.
Oh no. Oh man. Buddy told me that it was that wreck was very remnant of when my car flew up the track and destroyed his a couple weeks ago. I think it was at Chicagoland. So.
And speaking of, look at that. There's Sully coming in, and he's like, I'm gonna come to a complete damn stop.
That's a class act right there. Learn from this man.
Yeah, he's killing it with that, because he could have clobbered me earlier in the race at that other wreck, and he managed to not do it.
Look at Stinson. Thinks he won, or look at that burnout.
He must got all the pedals pressed.
So, this went down, people coming into the pits. And then, Tony, there was a point in this race where you just began to dominate. I want to say it was around lap 13, lap 14. All of a sudden, you're out in the front in the 13 Gravedigger, and nobody's even close to you. How did you have to take a strategy risk to put yourself in that position? Or did you just make it through? How exactly did you find yourself up in there?
I mean, I went to with a strategy that just kind of was hoping for green flag runs, and So it really came down to that very first stop of the people that decided to take tires and the people that decided not to, because you had like David Owens and a few guys did not take tires, and then me and a bunch of other guys did. And so it came to the end of the race there, and when I went to go pit the second to last time, I had to save that last set of tires that I had, whereas there was a couple guys that were able to take sets both times. And yeah, I mean, I knew the risk, but I just felt like, with this track, it was a huge possibility that we got the green, and I felt fast, and I was like, I'm going for the green flag win here. And I knew when the later caution came out that my only chance was to try to undercut the people that had two tires and two more sets of tires, but I pretty much knew it was over for me when that last caution flag flew.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. You from lap 14 forward, this pretty much was the Tony Iverson show. And I was going to ask you, at what point did you decide, man, this ain't lining up? You're talking about the caution that occurred on lap 84.
Yeah.
And did you feel like deja vu all over again? I think something very similar to this happened to you at Homestead a little bit earlier. Is that right?
They were similar but different in the sense that with Homestead, I actually was saved in a way by the last caution coming out because I couldn't make it on fuel. And Homestead, I had every chance to drive that race differently and probably come away with the win, but I just didn't evolve with the track. Here, it really just came down to the tires really being about the exact amount of tires you need to run these laps. So that caution on lap 25 was kind of the wrench in the gear for the whole race, because it really determined a lot. But
now, can you take us, Zach? Can you take us forward to 84, where that last caution occurred? And I think I'm going to pick a car at random. Let's just go with the 23.
Yeah, that's a good random pick. Completely super random. Let's go with that. So here we are looking randomly.
And so here we go. And so remember, Stinson was victimized by that wreck that Mata and Walton were a part of.
Oh,
and then
that toe link, Mean Gene. That toe link.
Yeah, if you go back, you can see the toe link. That's just side draft gone wrong.
You can see the moment where the toe link breaks for sure. I'll show you.
So go all the way back. Go see how it began. I mean, see how it began, because there was an early contact.
Was there?
There you go.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So everything's fine.
Totally normal.
Stinson is a lap down, but he's got speed because he was running with top 5 cars.
A lot of speed.
For a long period of time, for like 20 laps, 22 laps. And then right here, contact. And then right there, side draft goes wrong.
Or it could be a side draft gone wrong. Probably a side draft gone wrong, actually.
That was side draft gone wrong.
Yeah, he was going for that aggressive side draft.
And that was the spot, huh, Tony? You said, "God bless America."
Tony with some colorful words there. Red, white, and
blue. Your strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I heard before the caution actually came out, I heard Sean start like what the hell and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh fuck, a caution's about to wave right now. So I mean, like, I was already like heart sunk before the flag actually came out, but seeing the wreck, and then again, I got the privilege of being in the chat when he was being talked to about that wreck. It's hard to even talk about without dying laughing again, because I was literally like in stitches earlier. But he kept saying that the two came down into him, and I mean, another driver was yelling to him about the lines on the track and looking at his car and the way that the cars were pointed and who was going where and everything like that. And he stuck to his guns. He said that
a little fake there by Iverson.
Came down, and I had to do that one. But that caution coming out, dang, that one really sucked, because I'm not sure exactly what my lead was, but it was growing at the time too.
So I only have one more question
Absolutely.
for Iverson, Mean Gene, and it is a two-parter. First of all, what was the priority today? Because I can tell, I think kind of the way the vibe went, you kind of had to call it as you saw it, right? You kind of had to, you were kind of at mercy with the race. But if everything went to plan, what was the priority today? Because it did seem like tires were not as much of a premium as they normally would be. And secondly, is a kind of mean question, but it's only because I've been there too. What's going through your mind when you're clearly someone who's leading laps? I think in terms of races with laps led, you have to be the highest this season, but it seems to be on the earlier parts of races and it's falling apart towards the end. Oftentimes not your fault, oftentimes maybe just strategy not going away, but mentally, where are you right now in terms of your speed slash results?
I feel good. I've learned a long time ago running anything on iRacing, especially in NASCAR, is no matter who's the fastest, there's gonna be things that have to fall in place even for them to win. Even when you have the dominant car that day, there's one thing can just change everything, and I have to keep that in perspective. I also try to keep in perspective like smaller things like leading laps or having the fast lap or just things that kind of signal that I'm heading down the right road. And or even a stat, the stat that still blows my mind from this season is how many more stage points I have than everybody else to compare to the results. It kind of tells the story that you were just talking about, Zach. Is some of these things just aren't shaken down for me the right way at the end, and the best I can do is just keep doing what I'm doing, and eventually the things will fall in place. So that's the plan.
Love that, man, Jane.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you some good news, though. You were third in points at the end of the round of 12, and you're going next week to compete for a spot to make your way to the championship. So you're on target.
No, I can't wait.
Well, I mean, Gene, we're about to look at this last restart, and at this point, Tony Iverson, things were about to change over, and I think that's probably going to bring in our next guest, is it not? And Tony, thank you so much for joining us. Always a
Yes,
pleasure.
thank you guys.
And we'll have the Iverson cam, and also help us come up with a clever name for it. Me and Gene likes the AI cam, but if you come up with anything more clever, we have the what's the Sully cam? Oh, we have to come up with the name of that one, but we have Joe.
We got to come up.
Yeah, we got the Joe show, and we got the mustache cam. So let us know what we can come up with for you, Tony.
All right, the Tony Shoney. I don't know. I'll think of something.
Hey, Imagine you shoot, and sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't.
Tony, show me. Who knows?
You don't have to know about our private
Who
life.
knows? Thank you so much, Tony.
Yeah,
can't wait to see you next week, bud.
Good times.
All right. So even though he dominated the first part of that race, Tony, at lap 84, that's kind of where his strategy went out the window. And all of a sudden, missing that extra set of tires really crippled him. And that let other drivers step up, drivers that had tires, and made other strategy decisions. Specifically, we're thinking about Buddy Sully. Buddy led a lot of laps at the end of that race. Buddy, you with me, pal?
Yeah, I'm here.
There he is, Buddy Sully, the number 21 driver, season 3 champion of the MRL Monday Night Mayhem. And I'll tell you what, you were real close there at the end as far as winning this thing. When did you decide it was strategy time to give yourself a chance to win this?
Right whenever that green flag came out. The race up to that point had been pretty green, so I went with we're probably going to go green from here, and we're about 5 to 6 laps short on fuel. So I tried to stay up with the pack a little bit and realized that was going to cut me too short on fuel. So then I just started dropping back like a rock from clutching it. So
this is what the 84, the crash on 84. All right, so here we are in 114. You've got the lead. Other people have already made pit stops. If we go in car right there on lap 114, are you already making the moves to slow it down? Walk me through
Yep,
what you're
you can
thinking.
see right here. It's all about fuel conservation. I'm watching my fuel calculator. Those guys had pit, so they were a lap down to me. Um, I knew that they had to go the full track around still after their pit stop. So as long as I could not lose too much time to them, I knew they wouldn't be able to catch back up to me through the remainder of the race that we had.
Now you're talking about a calculator, so you have an add-on that you're using to help you do the math.
Oh yeah, I use sim racing apps for a fuel calculator to help me do the math and everything to see how short I am. It'll give me my worst fuel mileage and my last 2 lap average.
All right. Well, here we
Uh,
are walking through 124 at this point. We are going to 135, so you got about 12 laps left. Were you
yeah,
on target right here? 12 laps down. 12
I
laps remaining. Were
was
you?
so no, I was still clutching here. I'm not sure why it's showing that it's not because I was clutching that whole entire time. So I don't know why. There's something not showing right with that, but this whole entire time I was clutching both ends of the track for that whole run.
All right. So we're going to pull up 130 now. So I got to ask you this: How did um if you okay, you see yourself coming up on David Owen. So again, clutching it out. When did you think you had enough fuel to make it to the end? I mean, were you fighting this the whole time, or did your calculator tell you at some stage you could continue to clutch it and your driving style would make you to the end?
So the the whole entire time I was never all the way good on fuel. I had it down at one point to about a quarter of a lap short, and I thought if I could maintain that pace that I might be able to run out off of 4 and coast to the win. Um, so there was never a point in that whole entire run that my calculator was ever telling me that I was 100% good on fuel. So it was a
Never
struggle the whole
confident.
entire run. Yeah.
All right, now if we could switch over to let's pick a car at random, Zach. Let's look over at the 56 and see what he's doing inside the car. Now, buddy, what about this driving style? Tell me what's going on in this driver's head.
So I believe he pit and
Oh
took
yeah,
right sides. Um, so he has no worry about fuel. All he's trying to do is make up the gap to me. And since he doesn't have anything to worry about, uh, I think he can push it as hard as he wants without having any bad side effects happening
and you can
necessarily.
see the throttle. Look at the
Yeah.
throttle coming through there. Let's go ahead and switch back to Buddy's in car.
He was just able to hold it wide open where I had to still be cautious. And I think this right here might be where I ran out.
But no, we got 2 more to go, and I thought you'd be
Oh,
so much more conservative than what we're seeing. Like, so here we go, off throttle. I get why you're on the top, but so did that hurt? How frustrating was that when you had to go to the top? Because it makes the track a little bit longer.
it makes the track a little bit longer, but I could stay in the clutch a lot
Clutch.
longer and carry more momentum.
So at this point, are you looking
If
at
that makes
relative,
sense.
or are you just what's the priority right now? Gas or Matt Novella?
At this point, it was still Colin,
Mhm.
and I was just staring at my relative
Wow,
and
look at that
watching my
clutch.
fuel.
You see that, Main Gene? That was about
Yep.
50% in the corner right there. And then where is Matt
Yeah.
Novella? And so, did you think there was a chance Novella catches you on pace if you can make it?
Oh yeah. I thought that. So whenever we were about, I think 3 laps to go, their relative, they
This
were
is it,
about
buddy. I'm sorry to
three,
make you watch
two
this
and a
again.
half. Oh, you're good.
There it
The
is. Listen to that sputter. She just won't go.
Yeah, starting to die, and then I didn't want to ruin anyone's race, so I just tried to hug the bottom and then just coast on the apron.
You should have done that S's thing that they do in real life. Does that work in iRacing? Oh,
I
she's
don't know.
off. She's off.
Yeah. I had the clutch in right there to maybe hopefully the RPMs wasn't slowing me down and coast through there.
Wow.
But yeah, that's how that race went down. It was a whole struggle for the very last stint. Sometimes it works out, and in this case, in this case, it didn't quite work out that way.
Now, you told me earlier there was a spot you talked about Colin. Was there a moment where you pushed the car a little bit too hard that caused you to run out?
I think so. Whenever it was about 15 to 10 laps, maybe I saw Colin was about 13 seconds back, and he was gaining about a second a lap on me. So I kind of picked up the pace then, and then realized that it was going to make me way, way short. So I backed off my pace again. It wasn't until the very end that I saw Novella in the relative ahead of Colin. So I'm not sure what lap it was that Novella got around them, but at the last time I looked at my relative, it was Colin that was there, and then I was just purely focused on my fuel and not really
Yeah,
paying attention to
Colin was
anything
only
behind me.
Colin was only a second and a half behind, so he was still part of that equation. But Novella and Duval, with all that fuel, they were just able to zip around. So, all right. So tell me this: if you ended up still finishing a respectable 7th place, even if you wouldn't have been pressured by Colin's speed back on lap 12, what's the best case scenario of your finish?
Best case scenario, probably I would say a podium. I don't know, with the speed that Novella and Colin and them had, I'm pretty sure that even if I would have been able to make it to the end, I think they would have been able to beat me on pace. It would have been close, kind of like Michigan last season, but I think Novella would have won either way, because I don't know if I would have been able to maintain the pace with as much as I was trying to save fuel.
Well, it's still fun to watch, managing to complete this thing on only 3 pit stops. Most guys doing it with 4, some with 5, and a couple of guys involved in those incidents whacking it 6 times. So, buddy, 5th start of the year. Exciting to see you up there at the front again. Plans for next year? Are we looking at a full-time season out of Buddy? You going to try to come back and repeat that season 4 championship?
We are going to come back next season. It'll be full time. I'm going to finish these playoffs out full time. I don't really have anything in it but trophy hunting, but hopefully I can help my Tony or Owens or anyone, my teammates, through these playoffs. But really don't have any goals for these playoffs, other than just trophy hunting and kind of getting back to where I was last season. Because I definitely racked up the poles, and I'm struggling a little bit with qualifying right now.
Well, you got 2 things going on. You got your teammate Eric Thornton, who is 37 points behind Duval for the not playoff driver championship. I just made that up, Zach. The not playoff driver championship. So Thornton needs a little help to catch Duval. And, of course, David Owens and Tony Iverson, your teammates, moving forward as they are zipping into that round of 8. We'll see exactly how it is going to affect them having a Buddy Sully back to help them get around there, especially considering some of those tracks drafting is going to be an issue. Maybe not Nashville so much, but Michigan. And then, hey, definitely Vegas, I think we'll see the effects of having teammates helping you out. Buddy, so close, almost there. Next time, who knows? But good to see you back on the track, man. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Oh yeah, thank you guys. It was fun. It was a fun track to come back to. I think this is the first non-super speedway race that I've done, so still a little bit of time to get used to being in the seat, but I don't think it'll take too long to turn around and be back to where I was last season.
Well, hey, since you're on camera, go ahead and do something that you couldn't do a few months ago. Lift your hand and wave to the fans at home. There it is. Look at him. He's healed. He's back.
Right,
Bloody Sully.
That's
right.
Strikes fear in everybody in the field right there. I mean, Gene.
Yes, to see him. Road courses will be a lot more fun. That's for sure.
Thank you, buddy.
Oh yeah,
We love you, man.
I need to do a repeat of. I need to get Kelly back on Daytona so that I can go against him with a non-hurt shoulder.
Shots fired.
Well, you know what they say, man. We'll get him on Sunday, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what they also
get
say,
him
me
on
and
a Sunday.
Gene? Screw Jared Kelly.
Ooh, is that going to be a new slogan?
I mean, yeah.
We'll get t-shirts made.
I mean, I make t-shirts and say less, me and Gene.
Hey, I tell you what, man. He came over though and ran through what three races in Moonlight, won two of them.
Yeah,
That
I
sound
mean,
right?
he thinks it's all tough, but when he turns right. But when you bring that guy on a left-turn track, I lap him. But
Yeah, 4. He ran 4 races. He had 3 top 10s and 2 wins.
yeah, that's kind of sick.
Mm-hmm. He won at Atlanta too. So Kelly's got speed.
Great hair too.
Yeah, got speed. You gotta, they gotta do something about him.
They do.
But that's a Sunday problem usually.
It is.
Not
It
a
is.
Monday.
You're right.
I'll
Not
tell you what,
usually.
man. Not usually, but sometimes. But tell you what, good racing here today from Kentucky as we see the final 8 are solidified. If you go ahead and zap that up, we
Go
can
take a
see
look
those
at that
8
final
guys.
8.
These, those are the boys battling it out. So again, it is a win and you're in situation. Colin Bollinger, David Owens, Matt Novella back up into 3rd now because he's got those. I'm sorry, Tony Iverson 3rd, Kevin Kyle, Joe Volpus, Novella 6th, Andrew Bolander in 7th, and Sean Walton. He is your dark horse right now, up in 8th. But 3 Mo Power guys. That's a team to deal with.
What a crazy story.
High
today
side
told,
hustlers.
too. Like, mostly in the bottom, me and Gene. Jack Sanders came in 7th.
Yeah.
And Sean came in 11th. Man. Wow, right? Like, just...
But you figure if Sean didn't get wrecked at Talladega, he would have been easily comfortably in position. So a lot of speed by Sean, but even if that speed gets him to the final 4, even if he makes it through this next round of 8, what's he going to do in a championship against the speed of a David Owens or a Colin Bollinger or an Iverson at that point? He's not usually beating those guys.
Oh, I'll tell
So he's going to have to find some extra speed. Heck, he's going to have to find some consistency to get out of the round of 8. But he'd have to show some speed to get out of the 4. And that's what we saw at Novella today was raw speed. Novella, if he can turn that momentum into a win in Michigan, that'd be a dangerous guy to see at Vegas.
I mean, you're 100% right about that. And I'll tell you this, too, about Sean Walton. You know what he has to do to win the championship? First of all, win a race in the round of 8. Screw pointing in. Go out there and win the damn thing. And then, I mean, we both know this. If Sean Walton's in the round of 4, he's going to win or die trying.
Yeah. And I think you got to look at that getting there. That's what we saw last year. Of the 4 drivers, we saw 2 of them take each other out on accident. And then the final 2, there could have been a wreck if not for the conservative decision of Jax Duvall, which let Buddy Sully win. So it is a high-speed game of chance that we see these guys taking. But consistency is the way to go. Moving forward, guys have been consistent. Andrew Bolander, super consistent. Joe Volpus, super consistent. But they're going to have to show winning speed if they're going to want to go ahead and get into the championship race. And then I think it's going to take a win at Vegas to go ahead and claim that title, just the same way we saw Buddy Sully do that last year. And you can see right there the races. Michigan will be next week, followed up by Nashville and Phoenix with our championship at Las Vegas. So lots of racing still to go. 4 weeks before we crown a champion of season 4 here in Monday Night Mayhem. A little bit of paperwork I think we should take care of also. Next season we will be on VRN. So let's go ahead and talk about that full time next year. So again, if you haven't done so, take this opportunity. Go ahead and hit subscribe. That'll get you put into our sweepstakes. Once we get to 50, we're so close. we'll go ahead and do this subscriber giveaway and then immediately start up the next one to get to once we get to 100. So don't you be like me and have 2 accounts. We'll catch you.
Yes, we will, man, Gene. And
yeah, we do. Because I got alablazer34 at yahoo.com and then I got alablazer34x at gmail.com.
At least you got creative.
Yeah, I just stuck an X in there. People who just rename their stuff X, that's not original.
No, I agree. But yeah, get subbed up because it's only a matter of time. We got 3 more races left in this, and I agree with you, Gene. And I'm gonna pull up the schedule one more time real quick because I would put money on this, and I'm gonna take off this giveaway real quick to show you guys this. I think I know who's gonna win Nashville and Phoenix. So I feel
do you?
Yeah, I do. I think the 11's gonna win Nashville, and I think Bollinger is gonna win Phoenix. So I think Michigan is really going to be a make it or break it race for a lot of these guys on the outside looking in. And I'm excited it's the first one because I think it's going to...
Once that was wrapped up, it was Tony Iverson in 5th.
Yeah.
Looking on the outside. Not a happy camper.
He didn't even race for a championship last year. You were right about that.
No. So Michigan's really going to be the spot where something's got to happen for those guys.
It really is. And I think Michigan also kind of with like I think we'll be talking about it a lot next week, kind of like the plate track kind of vibe you get there, right? With the underpowered next gens and the nature of that track, the draft is going to be so important there. And what that means oftentimes is unpredictability, and anyone can win. So anyone that ran a 8, look for them to win. And I think a few of them, if you're a Sean Walton, even a Matt Novella, Gene, I don't care about second place in any of these races. I want to get the damn trophy and race for a championship.
Yeah, Tony Iverson, he finished 4th last year at Michigan. Owens finished 8th, Vulpes in 9th. So that could be the chance for Tony Iverson to sneak on in. Who knows? There's only one way to find out, and that's to run those races. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Oh, golly, and everybody struggled at Phoenix last year.
Except for
Look
Bollinger.
at that.
Right? Did Bollinger not come out of nowhere and part-time that thing?
Ugly. That was when it was still the David Cook show.
Oh, I mixed those two up. Such polished, good drivers. I think I've raced Bollinger in Xfinity or something then, Gene, at Phoenix. He's a killer there. He is crazy fast there.
Yeah, he won the championship last year in the Xfinity.
There you go.
So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. But one thing's for sure, the 11 and the 53 are both going to be really tough to beat come Nashville and Phoenix. So Michigan next week is where we're expecting to see some fireworks from all these other drivers. Specifically, will Matt Novella carry that momentum into Michigan, or will Tony Iverson, with the nightmare of season 4 fresh in his memory, push his way to victory? One thing's for sure, he definitely is not going to pit early, take tires, and count on a long green flag pit stop, green flags runs. I don't think that's going to happen again.
Oh, too soon, Gene. Too soon.
This too soon? Who knows? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap us up. Thank you so much for joining us here today inside the Mayhem. I'm Mean Gene and Zach Panzarella as well. Thank you, guys. Thanks to our sponsors, Chantilly Lace, DDI, and KK Woodscapes, making all those trophies. And they also got a gift card for you if you're the guy that pulls off that subscription. Want to thank you to our admins of the league, Steve Fugay, Joe Vulpes, John Beverly, David Owen, Zach Panzarella. Thank you guys for making all of those hard decisions that I make fun of and then walk away after I have started that fire.
It's the right way
Always
to do
good
it,
to talk
a
about.
lot easier that way.
That's the only way. That's the only way. I jump in, I say, oh, that looked like it was on purpose, if you ask me, and then I leave.
Oh, God. We
Guys, have a lovely evening. Thank you so much for joining us once again, and we shall bring it to you again live or on a rebroadcast on Thursday. We'll be back on MRL broadcasting to bring you our truck series as they continue their playoffs and making their way through that season. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen. Bottoms up and hammer down.